Today I'm going to be making a love it or hate it design, which is a classic Tabi shoe with that iconic toe split at the front there. Now I say it's a love it or hate it because people typically end up in one of the two camps. I have been dying to try on a pair of these just because I'm so curious to know how they feel. So I thought, why not make a pair and also see how hard they are to make. So you can see I've got in front of me a pair of Tabi shoemaking lasts with that toe split in the front, and I've already coated one of the lasts in masking tape ready to design my pattern on there. You'll notice I've removed all of the tape from the base or the feather edge, which is the bottom edge of that last. And if you want a video on how to tape up a last, I've got a separate video on that, which I'll link on the screen or down below somewhere. But if you're ready to dive into the pattern making process with me, then let's get started. So first things first, we only actually need one last to do this because we always make our shoemaking pattern on one last and then we flip it upside down so that we get a perfectly symmetrical pattern for both shoes. It doesn't matter if you choose the left foot or the right foot to make the pattern because, like I said, we're going to flip it to get lefts and rights. The only instance where you'd need to make two separate patterns is if you had two drastically different feet. So maybe one of your lasts has a build-up or is in a different size. But other than that, you would always just work with the one last. So once my last is taped up and the excess removed from the feather edge, I like to put in a couple of guidelines before I actually go ahead and design the shoe. And the first one that I always put in is going to be my back height point. Now the back height point is typically already marked on your lasts. So when you're taping up your lasts, you just want to make sure you're bringing that line with you through all of your layers of tape. Once we've got the back height in place, I like to just put a center seam down the back section, and that just will help me sort of know where I want that seam to be. A great way to get that point is to just hold it above eye level and sort of find the center of that heel area and then finding the center at the top and then joining those lines. It can be a little bit tricky to do because lasts aren't symmetrical shapes, so you're kind of doing it by eye, but just check your work and make sure it looks nice and centered. We're then going to do the same thing down the front, and in the case of this type of last, we've got that toe gap there, which is perfect because I'm going to use that as a bit of a guide for my center line. And I'm going to find the center of the top, find the center of that point, and then you can just use a tape measure to sort of join those lines. People always ask me, like, what's the exact measurement that it should be? Or do I measure around this area and then halve it? And it doesn't really work like that. Again, because the last is not a symmetrical shape, we tend to have more foot on the outside of the foot than we do on the inside. So it's not going to be the exact same measurement from the center to the outside. So you really need to sort of look at your work and make sure that it feels nice and centered as well and that it doesn't look too wonky. So with those center lines in place, I can go ahead and draw in my design. This is going to be a classic ballerina pump style Tabi, so the design lines are not going to be too complicated here, but I am going to start by just drawing on my top line, and I do want this to sort of sit quite high on the foot, so I don't want my top line to be too wide. Once I've roughly drawn on a nice curve for the front of the shoe, I then go from my back height and bring that line straight down to meet the front of the shoe. Now the beauty of working with a pencil and on masking tape is that if you don't like the line you've drawn, you can just rub it out and start again. So don't be afraid to do this a couple of times until you're happy with how it's looking. So once you're happy with your design, you can go ahead and cut it off the last. One thing I didn't mention is that it's really important we don't have any masking tape on the inside of that toe area, so it should just end right on the edge there. So at this stage, I'm happy with how that's looking. I'm going to take my craft knife and just cut around that top line, and I'm also going to cut all the way down the back seam as well. Oh, and before I move on, I always draw a little notch just on the inside of the shoe, so the inside curve there, and that will tell me later that this is the inside, and it'll help me keep track of my lefts and rights. So make sure you put that right on the feather edge there. And you can cut right into the last when you're doing this, but just remember you're only cutting through a thin piece of masking tape, so you don't need to put too much pressure on it. So once you've cut around that top line, you can actually remove any of the excess tape. And this is a kind of fun point to sort of see how the shoe would look. You can sort of visualize it as a masking tape shoe at this point. Now, this is the stage that if you sort of look at the whole thing and you think, oh, it's not quite right, I want to change something on the top line, now would be the point to make that change. Or if you want to get creative, bring this higher or put a point there or anything like this, that would be the time to do it. And to do that, all you would do is add a bit more tape on here, redraw and recut it out. So I am going to move my cutting mat to the side. I'm going to bring my pattern paper closer and we are going to lay this flat and turn it into a paper pattern. Okay, so I am gonna start by peeling the back, and then we're just really gonna slowly peel this off as one nice continuous piece. Just make sure you're bringing all the bits of masking tape with you. And then I always like to stick the top line first so that I'm really conserving the shape of the top line. So let that just fall naturally where it wants to go. Okay, so at this point, I want to really flatten the piece out as much as I can. There are going to be some areas that won't go flat, such as this, and that's because that's on a curve. So we want to get everything that will go flat, and then afterwards we deal with the curvy areas. So that's all looking pretty good. So let's do the back first. I'm just going to put a couple of little snips in, making sure that those snips are coming from the bottom or the feather edge. You don't want to be cutting in from the side because that's actually our seam. I also find here that lots of little snips is better than just a few big ones. Okay, so that is ready for me to add a few allowances to now. So we are going to need our tape measure, our pencil, and potentially a pair of dividers. These aren't essential, but they'll just speed up the process a bit. So as with almost all shoemaking patterns that I do, I'm going to add 3 main allowances to this. The first one is going to be an allowance on the top line. I'm going to add 5 millimeters onto this whole top line being this line here. And that is going to be used as what I call a folding allowance, because I'm actually going to have a folded top line on this shoe. If you wanted to have what we call a raw edge, so an unfolded top line, you could just leave this as it is. So to speed things up a little bit, I typically set my dividers to 5 millimeters, which is 1/2 centimeter, which is what I just drew on there. And then I just sort of scratch around that top line so it follows the curve nicely. And then you can just go over it with a pencil. Now, whenever I add an allowance into a pattern, I also like to label it. So I'm going to call this fold/trim allowance. I always write what it is on the inside of the allowance itself, because when we cut out this pattern, if we've written notes next to it, they'll then get chucked in the bin. So always keep your notes within the pattern itself. Now, the reason I've called it a fold/trim allowance is because we are going to use this pattern for both the upper and the lining. I'm going to be folding the top line of the upper, but on the lining, I'm actually going to be trimming off that excess after I've stitched it. So for the upper itself, it will be a folding allowance. For the lining, it will be a trim allowance. Okay, moving on to our second allowance, I'm going to add a seam allowance onto the back here, and that is so that we can stitch that back seam together. I'm also going to do 5mm for that. So I've got my dividers already set at 5mm, but if you don't have dividers, just use your tape measure to sort of mark out what 5mm looks like. So something like that. And you can actually just do it at the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to call that seam and seam. Last but not least, we're going to add in what's called the lasting allowance. Now, the lasting allowance is the additional material that we want on the feather edge or the bottom of the pattern. And that is so that when we are wrapping our upper over, we can wrap it right over the edge of the last and then place our sole on top. So if it just stopped right at the bottom of the last, we wouldn't have a very neat looking edge. So we need to add a bit of allowance to the bottom there, just so that we've got something to wrap over. Now, I typically do this as 2 centimeters, and we want to do that the whole way around here. And we want it to start from where our seam allowance is. So we're actually just continuing our seam all the way down. So we can also rub out that bottom line now. We don't need that anymore. One really important thing here is that remember we've got our notch, which tells us that this is the inside of the shoe. We want to transfer that into the lasting allowance. And that is so that when we actually cut out these pieces, we can see exactly where the inside of the shoe is. So that is the main part of the tabby pattern, but we do also need a bit of leather that'll go in between the toes. So we'll need to create a pattern for that as well. One way to do this is to take a long piece of masking tape and fold it in half. I'm then going to put a pencil inside on the non-sticky side and push it into the center, and then just rip away a bit of that excess. So as you can see, that has coated the top half, but I still need to get a bit of tape on the bottom half too. So I'm going to take a second piece of tape and come in from a bit lower this time. And then I'll just get the pencil in there to gently push it into place. So now that's fully coated on the inside. At this stage, I'm going to draw around the edge so that I know exactly where the inside begins. So I'm just running the pencil along the top edge of that toe area. And then underneath, we want to do the same so we know where it's ending. Then carefully we need to remove that piece of tape and lay it as flat as possible on our pattern paper. Now this funny looking piece is our toe insert. And what we're going to actually do here is add 5mm excess around the top line for our seam and 20mm excess lasting allowance along the bottom. Now because I've added the 5mm excess along the top, I need to also add it on the toe part of the main pattern. That's because it's our seam allowance, similar to what we've done here at the back. So you'll notice I've drawn a line at the top to indicate the very center of the toe piece. And I know this piece of tape was on the inside of the toe section here. So I know that's going to be the inside of the toe pattern. So I'm going to add a little notch here. Before we add the lasting allowance to this one, I'm going to add the 5mm seam allowance in here. Now, typically how I do this, because it can get a little tight in here, is mark on 5mm as far as I can until I reach up to that center point. And that's just going to be cut as a slit, but I've left 5mm here because that's also the allowance that we're going to stitch this one in. So last but not least, we're going to add in our 20mm or 2 centimeter lasting allowance along the bottom of that toe piece. And as usual, I'm going to transfer that little notch into the lasting allowance down here as well. So I had a bit of a aha moment, which is that instead of taping the inside, you could use just a piece of paper. And this is probably a bit easier to do if you also have a skinnier toe split than my last. So I'm going to place that in. Maybe we don't want such a sharp curve. And actually, I'm going to try and sort of line it up pretty much exactly in the curve. And then I am just going to use a few little strips of masking tape to like roughly hold it in place while I do this, because it is kind of important that this doesn't move around. So with the toe perfectly held in place, I can just trace around like that, making sure I'm getting that curve accurate. And now that I'm at the base, I'm going to just gently remove the tape and see how it kind of wants to slide around. Make sure you've got that in line with your pencil where it was. And then we'll just do the bottom like that as well. And same on the other side. Okay, so it's a little bit rough and sketchy, but you can see now exactly how that angle is. And then of course at that point we would add on our lasting allowance and our 5mm folding allowance, but it's just a nice alternative way to get that toe split area. So that is now my upper pattern completed for the Tabi shoes. So there is one more pattern that I need to get from my last, and that is my last bottom pattern, which is the pattern from the feather edge of the whole base of the last. I'm going to use that pattern to make my insoles, so it is quite important that we get it. It's very easy to do. We are going to take some masking tape and we're going to coat the whole base in masking tape, and then we're going to trace around the edge. Now I usually do this by putting one strip all the way down the center and then lots of little strips going across like that all the way down. Try not to wrap the tape up because we are actually going to be peeling it off afterwards. And it's important that with each layer, we're overlapping the previous layer a little bit as well. So really making sure that it's stuck down really securely to the base of the last. And then we're just going to take our pencil and run it around the feather edge. Okay, so once you've traced out that feather edge, we can then pull the long piece of tape so that it brings up everything as one nice piece. Sometimes I bring it a bit from the top and a bit from the bottom. And then to place it, we're just going to pull those ends nice and tight like that, and then I usually just take a pencil and kind of roll it from side to side to make sure it's stuck down really nicely. Now the beauty of a last bottom pattern is that there's absolutely no allowances to be added, so we can go ahead and label that as last bottom pattern. And then we can go ahead and cut out all of those pieces and move on to the next step, which is turning these into a real wearable pair of shoes. Now, when you come to the stitching, it is so important that your stitching comes right up to that curve there. Otherwise, it's not going to sit right into the curve of the toe split. And we really do want to make sure that the leather is sort of flush up to that edge there. So really making sure that even though we're cutting the leather down here, the stitching is coming all the way up to that curve. Now, if you're new to the channel or have been really speedy in watching this one, I may not have that video up yet. So if you subscribe to the channel, you get notified as soon as the actual making video has been uploaded. But if this video has already been up for a little while, I'll link down below or somewhere in the caption the link to the next video, which is turning these into a pair of shoes. Hope you found that pattern making video helpful, and I will see you next time.